In this video, I'd like to show you how to use Avitar's collect system to import the warrant and get ready to print your bills. We're going to be assuming that you are using Avitar's assessing program, which has generated the warrant, printed out the tax totals, and formalized the warrant. You're now ready to import it into collect. To begin, we'll go to Utilities, Import Warrant. We are going to be importing a 2010 property tax second issue warrant. So we'll click Next. And this brings the property tax total page up. These totals must match the tax total page that was printed in the assessing program. They should match exactly. You should also be comparing these totals, because this is the fall bill that we're printing, to the DRA's warrant amount, which can only be 1/2 higher or lower than that amount. If it does not agree, you need to close this program, bring it back to the assessors, have them fix what's wrong before you begin again. If all these totals are correct, you'll just want to check your bill due date. You can change it by clicking on the down arrow, selecting the date. Once the date is complete, click Import. It's going to verify the bill due date. Say yes. This brings us to the definable tax districts. If you do not have tax districts in your town, you will not see this message. I'm using the town of Madison's database, and they have a tax district, which means that anyone in that tax district is going to have a slightly different tax rate than other people. You want to make sure that what assessing has for the taxable district is the same as what you have in collect. In this case, we only have one, but some municipalities have multiple taxable districts. You'll want to make sure that not only that the district is the same name, but they're in the same order, because you want to make sure that the tax rate reflects what assessing has, what's going to print on your bill. In this case, we're all set. Ours match. We click Continue. It is now creating the tax bills. It says the import is complete, so we'll click OK. And it's going to ask us if we want to update the owner information on previous invoices. It's always a good thing to do. Run it, make sure everything you have matches. So we're going to click Yes. And it is now going out and checking assessing to make sure what they have in their system matches what we have in ours. We say OK. This message is just telling us that we have some additional mail-tos that are attached to properties that actually had some changes to them. You should generate this report, look it over, and make sure that they're still applicable. So we'll click OK. And here's the report. You can see the parcel ID that the mail-to is attached to. It tells us who the additional mail-to is, who it was attached to, and who the current owner is. A lot of times, you don't need to do anything, because the person only needed to take something off, like this air. Obviously, Alan Gilman still owns the property, so this additional mail-to will probably want to stay attached to it. However, if you can see here, Brian was the one that owned the property that had this Paul attached to it for an additional mail-to. Franklin now owns the property. Franklin probably does not need an additional mail-to going to Paul. So what you need to know about this report is you need to print it out, look at the information. Does the additional mail-to need to stay on? Then you don't need to do anything. Does the additional mail-to need to be removed? Then you need to go and remove it from that property so that someone's not getting a bill that they shouldn't be. So you'd want to print it and close this report. And the next message just says, okay, you've pulled in some ownership changes, maybe it's the addresses. Do you want to print a report? If you don't print that report right now, you will not be able to generate it later. So it's a good idea to get in the habit of just saying yes, printing the report, and then closing it. Just gives you an idea of what the changes were made. Brings you back to your imprint preview. We're all set, so we'll click Close. That doesn't end right now. You should be doing two other steps. You need to verify that the whole warrant amount actually came over, and you can do that by going to Reports, Collection Year to Date, going down until you find your 2010 second issue, This is the committed amount. That should match the signed commitment from your selectman and the warrant that you imported. Close that. And the only other thing I tell people to do is to actually go and check somebody's account. Actually pull up a bill. Make sure that this due amount is the amount that matches the warrant. Pull out your printed warrant. Make sure this amount is there for this customer. The due date is the correct date, the interest rate is correct, and that the assessment is correct. Spot check a few. Once you're done, you're ready to go on, assign your credits, and print your bills. And we will do that in another video. And that ends the import process.